guys!
Hey guys!
We're the Dorkeries.
We're the Dorkeries.
This is a special video, Lady Dorkery.
How many days has it been, Drew?
This is 140 days in the making. What are you thinking? What are you thinking right now as you're watching this? What in God's name is he talking about? What takes 140 days to be made? Well, this CGC submission, we have a CGC unboxing!
Break me off a piece of that CGC!
So, here's the background.
You didn't ask what I was thinking. Guess what they were thinking.
What are you thinking?
There's 104 days of summer vacation.
It's close. You know, I would have felt better if it was 104 days, but about 36 more. So 140 days. Yes, I know business days, but okay, 140 days is how long this has. And I will actually say it's probably 140 business days because it takes so daggone long for CGC to mark the books as received. That's another story for a different day. But long story short, I sent 4 value tier books. Fast track, Lady Dorkery. That's the big key there. Okay, so fast track at the time, this is back in December, was about 24, 26 days, something like that. So I should have gotten this back, 24, 26 business days. I should have gotten this back early January. And we are April 27th. So I started to notice something was kind of going wrong with this around the late January time frame.
And we were getting ready to move.
Yep, and I was like, I called them to change the address and all that good stuff. No problems. I was like, hey, I know this is probably about to go out the door, and so I just want to make sure you're sending it to the right thing. And this is at the end of January. And they're like, oh, yeah, no problem. And then just weeks go by and nothing. And it doesn't say scheduled for grading. All it says is received. So I start calling in on a weekly basis, and I finally get Miss Lorraine, which I love Miss Lorraine at CGC. Shout out to Miss Lorraine. She's super sweet. But she finally was honest with me. Not that she was ever not honest, but she was finally able to find out what had happened. And it seemed at the time that CGC had lost these books.
Yep.
Now, they say they never lose books. They misplace books. So they say they misplaced these in a bin and nobody could find them. Nobody knew where they were. And we actually got to a point, Lady Dorkery, to where they offered to buy these out.
Right.
They were ready to basically say, hey, we don't know, you're eligible. You know, we're just going to buy these books out at their value. And I told them, I was like, that's not okay because there's a book in here that actually was my dad's when he was a teenager. So you can't replace that. But what was really funny was there's a book in here, there's a first vision, so I missed, you know, if I was going to sell this, and I'm not going to sell my first vision, but if I was going to sell that, then I would have completely missed the height of that market. Also in here is the first Dark Side, which, what do we have in the middle of all this? The Snyder Cut, which was probably the height of that.
Yeah.
But
that's okay.
That's okay.
Can we just, I want to point out, in the middle of all of this craziness, and comic collectors, comic graders right now, we're all like trying to figure out what's going on with this process.
Yeah.
And even in today's world where when you try to call anyone, you can't get customer service help. I'm constantly seeing people with annual passes to Disney. They're like, I've been on hold for 5 hours and no one will answer my call.
I called UPS.
I listened to you call UPS. 3 times they hung up on you the other day. 3 times they would not help you. 3 times they just said nope and hung up.
Yeah.
All of that happening, you gave props to Miss Lorraine for just...
And she was one of many I talked to at CGC.
And most of them were not nice to you. I will just say, all that, I find more comfort in someone flat out saying, because she said, we don't
know where it's at.
We don't know
she
where
said,
your
just
package
don't lose
is.
hope. She said,
we have no... I find more comfort in someone being kind and honest than someone being short, rude, and refusing to answer questions. Yeah. And there was even one day that you called for a different issue for broken slabs.
Yep.
And you called and you said, I'm Andy Dockery. You were not calling for this package. You were calling about another damaged package. And the lady that spoke to you said, we know exactly who you are.
Yeah.
They said, oh, you're Andy Dockery? We know who you are. We actually have everyone on our staff looking for your lost package.
Yeah.
I find honesty like that more comforting than people who refuse to give customer service, where they at least identify that you have every right to feel slighted.
Yeah.
You have every right to feel concerned.
Yep.
And we're doing everything we can to fix that for you.
Yeah. And so again, I always got somebody on the phone within a couple minutes, and I did call once a week. And the whole story, and every time they're like, "Oh man, that's not right." So all good. We're going to get to the CGC. And here's another thing, too. Here's a question for this, Lady Dorkery. I'm going to tell you what I paid for it, as usual, what I think the grade is. These were all pressed by...
You've never seen these, have you?
What?
You've not seen these yet at all, have you?
No,
You have no idea?
No idea.
Erod 212! I beat you to it!
Yeah, Erod 212 pressed these out. These are obviously older books. So, you know, we're not expecting 9/8 and big grades in here. Actually, I'm going to need to, in just a second, I'm going to need to grab something. But so one of the things, too, was I was worried about that since these were pressed.
They've been sitting
months. In a warehouse for 140 days.
We hope in a warehouse. They don't know where they were. We don't.
Yeah. We
found them on the curb.
Somebody's garbage can. But so basically my other concern is, did I lose my bumps or did I lose my pressing job during this time? And maybe these grades aren't what I thought it was going to be, but that's okay. You know, they're back where they belong.
This is all part of the process.
So, all right, cool. We're going to start off with probably what I think will be the highest grade in this lot.
Avengers.
So this actually came out of the same thing that our other Avengers 57, which is the first Vision, came out of.
Is this
the Bicycle Man?
Oh, the Bicycle Man. I thought you were going to say the largest comic book collection.
No. There was no vintage. So again.
Bicycle Man.
Yeah, so put the hand up. So basically, if you don't know the story, a couple of years ago on Craigslist, I found some vintage Avengers comics for sale, and it was like, I think it was $150 for like Avengers 30 through 60, and I was like, okay. And I saw the first Vision in there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got to, you know, I've got to get these. And actually, it was not. Did I say a couple months ago? This was a couple of years
ago. This is the night where we were literally in bed going to sleep, and Andy was like, I have to go right now.
I gotta go
Gets
meet a guy.
up, gets dressed. He's like, I'm going to meet a guy.
So I was like I was not taking any
night.
chance. And he's like, I want to meet you at this gas station on not the best part of town. And I was like, oh, okay. So I go to the gas station, and I'm waiting there, and he's like, I'm on a bike. And I'm thinking, okay, so you're on a Harley. So I'm listening for that Harley sound, and I'm listening for that motorcycle sound. And I'm looking around, and, you know, he's late. And then I'm about to leave because I'm like, this was too good to be true. I'm about to leave, and I see this older gentleman on a bicycle, okay, holding the comics in his hand like that, like a waiter carries a tray. No bags, no boards. Also, may or may not have, smelled like cigarette smoke. So I was like, oh no. So I was like, you know, but again, you know, I don't, you know, to each his own if you want to smoke, but, you know, I want my books to smell.
Don't smoke around comics,
Don't smoke around comics. But so anyways, so I got these books, and they were nice, and I paid $100. So long story short,
it was a fun story to have about some really good comics.
Yeah. So I paid about $8 for this, and I think this was so when you $8 when you talk about the whole lot. This is the first appearance of the Quinjet.
Quinjet.
I just like this cover, and I like that it's a high grade from the 60s. So I'm thinking an 8.0, which is really high for this Silver Age book. But it was pretty, and Erod cleaned it. Look at that back. Look at that. Look at that back.
Look at it. Look at it.
Look how good that I got back clean. So, all right. So here we go. I'm nervous because again, this was pressed. So I don't want the things to go away. So we got a yes.
Wow.
Yes.
What good news.
Yes. I mean, look how clean that book is. Look how clean that book is.
Good job, Erod.
Yes. Awesome. Isn't it beautiful?
I love this.
Yeah. So again, that's not a major key.
But what good news that it met your expectations.
But I love that Doctor Strange is like the villain in this book, and you've got Black Knight on there. So you've got a good thing. You got Vision. You've got Black Panthers in there. It's just a great. I think that was that Buscema. Right here. John Buscema cover and art. So Buscema's great, underrated. He always did such good work on that. So, all right. Next book. We ready, Lady Dorothy? I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it. All right. Oh.
Oh, wow. That's pretty.
All right. So, don't look. I'm going to give you 2 things about this. I cracked this. This was, excuse the coffee stain. That was on there after I cracked it. So, this was a 7.0. Now, I didn't just crack this because I thought, oh, I got a chance for a bump here, which I did. I cracked it because it had Newton rings galore.
Really?
This is the most Newton rings I'd ever seen. It looked like Rainbow Bright had either been smushed on the slab or threw up on the slab. So shout out to any of you 80s kids that remember Rainbow Bright. And it was just gross. I mean, and every time I looked at it, it was like, oh my gosh. But this was one of the very first books I ever got graded by CGC. So this was before E-Rod.
212!
This is before E-Rod, so I never got it pressed or clean. And I think, you know what? I bet we can get at least a little bump out of this. So 7.0. Man, I'm shaking because I haven't seen this book.
That's what we were
in
at.
140 days. We were at 7.0. So you always take a chance when you crack it and try to get a bump. But I believe in E-Rod. You believe in E-Rod? We all believe in E-Rod, the master presser. We got a bump. We got a bump.
What were you hoping for?
Any bump.
Okay.
Any bump. And looking, no Newton rings. Looks clean. There's nothing in there like, you know, some of our other problems we've had.
Any bump is amazing when you consider it had already been graded once.
Yes.
They said it was what it was, but E-Rod got it better than what it originally was. I mean, so like you said, any bump is amazing.
And the big thing was...
And it just shows that a good presser
the big
can
thing
really make
was
a
the
difference.
Newton rings, and that is no longer there.
This is so pretty.
I think that could be a little bit higher. You can tell it's slightly tanning, but, you know, I'm 7.5. I mean, you get to like a 9.0 plus in the book, you're talking about, you know, thousands of dollars. So this is probably, at least got my money back, but more importantly, I no longer have Newton rings on a major first appearance.
Love it.
All right, 2 more books. We've got Doctor Strange, 169. So I only paid $39 for this.
Okay.
This was an eBay find quite some time ago. I thought, you know what? This is one that I feel like could do some pressing. It's a mid-grade.
You're fine. I'm just reading.
It's got lots of issues, but this is the first time Doctor Strange appeared in his own title. So this also goes over the origin of Doctor Strange.
That's cool.
So I'm thinking with all the kind of creases and you can kind of see the spine there.
Do we have any pressing done?
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay.
These were all pressed.
These were all pressed? Okay.
So I'm thinking, you know, 3.5 to a 4.
Wow.
Is something I'd be okay with. But again, you know, hoping the pressing kept its thing. All right, so we got a... Whoa! Wow.
Wow.
I mean, if you look at this right here, I mean, I knew about that. We're sorry we lost your books for 140 days. So here's a really good grade. That's nice.
That's pretty awesome.
That's nice. Again, the colors on that pop, it presents beautifully. PC, so... All right, so the last one we got here is the book from my dad's collection, Teenager. As you may or may not know, I think I've said this in the past, one of the reasons I got into comics, because as a young little dork, I was given my dad's comic book collection. He gave me his entire comic book collection, and I read everything. I mean, I read Lois Lane, Superman, Legions of Superheroes, I mean, you name it, Spider-Man.
So now when I rag on you that I read more than you, it's really unfair because you already did all your research?
That's all I did. That's all I did was read these comic books. I was never trying to keep them in perfect shape. I just read them because my dad read them. So this is the first appearance of Darkseid. This is a Neil Adams cover. And it's my dad's book. So I'm expecting a 2.5. I mean, it's not, it was loved. I mean, it was loved, and 2.5 to 3.0, it was
so this is basically just to preserve it.
This is preserve it and say, hey, this was one of my dad's biggest books out of his collection, DC-wise. We had some big Marvel books, too. Which, by the way, one of the books that he had was a Fantastic Four number 48. with his name written in cursive. Jeff Dockery.
Dockery.
If you know where that book is, at one point in our marriage, young marriage,
we needed money.
I needed money and had to sell that book. I would love to have that book back. So if you know anybody that has a Fantastic Four 48 with the name Jeff Dockery written on it in ink,
we'll buy it back.
We'll buy it and make it worth your while. All right, so Jimmy Olsen. So I didn't pay anything for this. This was absolutely free. The only thing I got into this was basically the pressing and cleaning. 2.5 to 3.0, we got a... Wow. I'm telling you. Thank you, CGC.
Thanks, CGC.
Thank you. I mean, you made up for it. That was at least worth the small wait. So, all right. Woo! They're home. They're here. We're happy. 4 great books. I'm like tearing up a little bit. 4 great books. Thank you so much for preserving my dad's comic, for getting our one of our best local comic book deals we found. And there you go. And again, all in the end, CGC was very nice about it. Offered lots of things to fix it. But in the end, we just wanted the books. They found them. We got them. And we got good grades. And in the meantime...
Go dork yourself!
Yippee!